Good evening. I'd like to call to order this special meeting of the Round Lake Area Board of Education on September 29th, 2025 at 7 p.m. If I can get started first with a roll call, please.
Ms. Lee?
Here.
Mr. Francisco?
Here.
Mr. Jewett?
Here.
Mrs. Negrete McGinley?
Here.
Mr. DeVera?
Here.
All right, and first up on this one is the public hearing. That is what this special meeting is about, and I will turn that over to.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity tonight to run our FY26 FY26 budget hearing. First and foremost, the budget is available on our website and has been available on our website since we placed the budget on display, including having the revised iterations also made available on display. Let's see if I can get this. What way am I supposed to point? So first and foremost, from the September 9th board meeting, we have had some minor changes that have occurred. Our revenue has decreased by $17,000. This is due to the reduction of grant revenue in conjunction with a reduction of the associated expenditures. We've also had a few reclassifications made between revenue lines and a few minor changes resulting from FY25 year-end accruals. We're hoping that this week will be the final week that we allow any accruals for FY25 to be entered, and therefore we should see some final figures for FY25 here coming up in the next few months. As it relates to our expenditures, the major variance that occurred, we had about a $292,000 increase to our expenditures. And this is mainly due to the fact that our salaries and benefits were budgeted based on estimates, FY25 estimates to the best of our abilities, but we were able to take that September 15th, the first payroll of the year, that included all of our not only 12-month employees, but also our 9-month employees, and use that to project out the remainder of the year. So that information is reflected in this budget. We've also had a few minor adjustments that were made again based on FY25 actual spending and grant allocations. If we look at our operating funds, I wanted to just go through for the community's benefit a few of the major highlights. Again, we have on our website the district's FY26 budget, which is available. Inside the budget, as you will see in the very small letters to the side, let's see if I can get this to, right? That does the little. Okay, there are footnotes to every line item. In the FY26 budget that's available online, there are footnotes available for your review. They give a lot more insight as to every single line item in our budget and provide estimations. It may provide assumptions that were used. It may provide actual information as to FY25 versus FY26 changes. But I highly recommend that if anyone has questions, they take the opportunity to review that document. But foregoing that, at this moment, I am going to go through just a few highlights. So our major sources of revenue, which would be our tax levy and our state funding, which is our state EBF and categoricals. If we take a look at our tax levy is limited by CPI or 5%, whichever is less. And CPI for the coming year is 2.9%. So you can see that when we look at our tax levy revenue for our operating funds, we estimate that that's going up about 3%. That's directly in line with what we have for CPI for the coming year. If we take a look at our state EBF and categorical grants, you will see that it is increasing by about $5.5 or $5.6 million. It's important to note that really and truly the only new money the district is receiving in FY26 in this line item is $1.2 million. However, because last year our bonds were paid out of a different fund, which we will address that in about 2 or 3 more slides, there's about $4.7 million of revenue that was state-funded revenue that was used to pay our bonds that is now coming into our operating funds. So although it does look like we have a very large increase, overall the increase in our state funding is not as significant as it appears on this slide. The last thing I want to draw to your attention is our earnings on investments. Given the fact that we have decreasing rates that are being announced by the federal government that are about to hit us, we have to expect that our interest on our investments is going to be declining. That, coupled with the deficit from FY25 that did use up some of our fund balance, we are expecting a decline in this area. This is our best guess at this point. However, we're going to be monitoring our interest earnings over the remainder of the year just to be sure that what we've estimated ends up being the target, and we will be able to notify you through the footnotes and through our presentations whether or not these estimates we think will come to fruition. If we take a look at our operating expenditures, again, we have used the 915 payroll to account for the salaries and benefits for most of the line items. The only line items that really do not utilize that 915 payroll is our stipends, subs, and other salaries, because those aren't necessarily paid over the next 24 pays. Those are paid at various times throughout the year. So we have used FY25 actuals and contracted agreed upon increases to estimate out those figures as well. If we take a look at our capital projects and equipment, that's going to be one of our largest variances from FY25 to FY26. We see a reduction of what we are budgeting of $1.3 million. That is because we have put a halt on the use of operating funds for capital projects at this point, given our budget situation, and that will remain on hold until we have a situation where we have a funding source for those. Lastly, one of the final line items that has changed materially from FY25 would be our special education IEP and contracted services. We have that projected to go up about 11%, and that's as a whole. That is factoring in the 15% increase at CEDAL, as well as any new placements that we've been made aware of in the finance department. Those have been factored in to these figures and this budget. If we take a look at our debt service fund, this is where we see that very large $4.2 million that came in state funding, and that is now appearing in our operating funds. So you can see there is zero budgeted in FY26 versus in FY25 where we had actually received $4.2 million, and in FY24 where we had received $4.2 million. You may ask the question, well, why aren't we receiving it in FY26? And that is because that is for the property tax relief grant that the district did not receive for FY26. So that is why we see a variance there. Now, what you do see is a very large increase in our tax levy revenue, and that is actually to make up for that. So when we received the grant, that allowed us to reduce taxpayers' bills by that corresponding amount. With the loss of the grant, the taxpayers' tax bills go back up in order to account for those and allow the district to be able to make its bond payments. This next slide shows our bond payments for the coming year, which we're estimating to be about $8.1 million. I want to make sure that everyone is aware that the principal and interest payments are not discretionary funds. They are not something that we really have control over from a year-to-year basis. If you think about it like your own personal mortgage, there's set amounts that have to be paid each year. And we, in essence, have an amortization schedule that says how much we should be paying from year to year. So what you see here are the estimated payments that we are expecting for FY26 in the debt service fund. Next, we're going to take a look at our capital and life safety funds. One of the most important things to note is that in FY25, we received $1.8 million of a philanthropic donation for some building projects that we had. And we also have received about $1.7 million of state funding in a grant for some projects that we have. So you can see that those are no longer projected for FY26. We do not anticipate that we will receive those funds again in FY26. So that has materially impacted what we would normally see. So you can see in FY24, we had received about $7.6 million of revenue. It went down to $4 million, and now we're looking at about $500,000 of revenue that we expect to come into the capital and life safety projects. When we're looking at the expenditures, we have basically budgeted for all of the expenditures that we anticipate for the projects that the board put in place and approved back in March. Those projects have been factored in. Those projects will use the remainder of, are likely to use the remainder of our Fund 26. Why are we not required to when we're looking at a $3.1 million deficit? That is because of those ending fund balances. Because we have a $29 million ending fund balance, and while they don't look at each individual fund specifically, they look at the total of all of the funds. It basically has reached a formula level that doesn't require a deficit reduction plan. However, it's very important to note that even though we were not required to, we did complete a deficit reduction plan and included a very specific narrative in that state form, just so that we would be able to have some of that transparency with the public that explains, and the state, that explains our plans for balancing the budget by the end of FY27. And with that, that is my presentation for the evening.
Any questions from the board?
I just wanted to clarify, this was also done at finance, but I also just wanted to, because the property tax relief grant, because I know you mentioned their taxes go back up. It's not really that they go back up, they revert back. I don't want the community to think that we're raising their taxes, because that's not what's happening. Their tax reverts back. I just want to make sure we clarify that.
You are, I'm sorry, this is very loud. You are correct. They do revert back to what they otherwise would have been. It's kind of like if your grandma came in and gave you $20,000 to pay your mortgage for a year. Next year, she's not going to give you that money again. You still have to pay your mortgage at the following year. So that's kind of a quick way to explain how that works.
Yeah, I just wanted to make that clarification for the community. I don't want them to think we raised their taxes.
All right, hearing no additional conversation from the board on that, members of the public may participate in public comment during special board meetings by attending in person or by submitting electronic public comment form. Please note that speakers are limited to 3 minutes. Electronic public comments are accepted up until noon on the day of the meeting, and public commenter will be contacted to confirm identity. We did not have any electronic public comment. Did we have any local public comment for this special hearing? If you have public comment for the special hearing, please step up and also make sure you fill out one of the forms and turn it in to Ms. Bennett. Yeah, come on.
Would
Please
you
do.
respond back?
No, again, we will not be responding back.
Okay.
The public comment is one way, and then the administration will be reaching out to you in the next day or so in order to continue that conversation.
Okay. And that's the same for a public hearing?
Correct.
Oh, okay. Got it. Okay. Thank you. I was just wondering if the TRS and the IMF comprehensive reports that we'll be talking about during the board meeting, is that related to the financial budget?
So I'll make a statement, and again, I've offered this to you. If you want to sit and ask questions, we're happy to bring the team together, spend as much time as you want. What you're going to see, board, what is in the packet later is the state requirement, so it's not really related to the budget presentation.
Thank you. Any additional public comment? All right, hearing none, we will adjourn the special meeting at 7:16 PM. And we will immediately move right into calling to order this regular meeting of the Round Lake Area Board of Education at 7:16 PM on September 29th, 2025 in the John T. McGee Cafeteria. If I can get started with a roll call, please.
Ms. Lee?
Here.
Mr. Jewett?
Here.
Mr. De Vera?
Here.
Mrs. Negretti McGinley?
Here.
Mr. Francisco?
Here. All right, and first up is our Pledge of Allegiance. All right, if I can get a motion to approve the meeting agenda as listed.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Lee, seconded by Mr. Jewett. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Negretti McGinley?
Yes.
Mr. De Vera?
Yes.
Mr. Francisco?
Yes.
Ms. Lee?
Yes.
Mr. Jewett?
Yes.
Motion carries. We have an approved agenda. And first up on that agenda is special recognition and presentations. And that is our September Athletes of the Month and our athletic director, Mr. Karolzak.
Good evening and thank you. As always, I am happy and honored to present our Athletes of the Month. We'll be doing our September Athletes of the Month this evening. But before we move into that, I just want to highlight a slight but I think important change to this process to the board. In the past, our Athlete of the Month nominations and selections were based almost entirely upon performance on the field or the court. And that is very important. But last year, I was actually pushed by one of our coaches to broaden the requirements for nominations and selection of Athletes of the Month. It was Coach Telez, our boys and girls head soccer coach. And so moving forward, rather than just focusing on performance on the field or the court, when evaluating the nominees, we also look at excellence in the classroom, leadership in the community, and living by the core values of Round Lake High School and the Round Lake Athletic Department of perseverance, respect, integrity, discipline, and effort. And so, not to take anything away from past winners, but tonight, with these new considerations in place that more firmly align this award with the mission and vision of not only the high school athletic department, but of Round Lake Area Schools District, I think it's a really significant accomplishment, and I don't know that we could have any better representatives of the new significance of the Athlete of the Month award than the two we have tonight. So with that, let's get to it. First, our September male Athlete of the Month from our football team, team captain Kevin Rodriguez. Here to recognize Kevin is head football coach Randy Day.
I'm Coach Randy. Hello. Didn't prepare a speech, but what I'll do is I'll speak about Kevin real fast. When I came to Round Lake, I'm from Carmel, and we had a certain system there that worked for us. When I came here, I changed the system. Now, Kevin was the centerpiece of the old system, right? He's not in this system. He's a wonderful kid. I didn't sleep when I had to tell him he had to change positions. I couldn't sleep because he's so amazing of a person. I didn't want to hurt his feelings. So I'm dreading telling him this, right? And I get him, I'm like, Kevin, we're going to move you to a slot. We're going to move you to this, to that. And he looks at me and I'm thinking he's going to be pissed off. He says, cool. I said, what? He says, cool. I said, that's it? He's like, yeah. I'm like, you're not upset. He said, I just want to win football games. I want to play with my friends. I want to put a show on for my family, for my community. Kevin, I have two sons, right? I'm as proud as Kevin as I am of them. Your son is amazing. Everyone loves him. If you're having a bad day, ask him to smile. Show him. See? Look at it. That's the magic of Kevin, okay? So I'm glad to finally meet you guys. He is amazing. We love him. This is not fake. He is a wonderful child. Great job. And that's our Athlete of the Month, Kevin.
Thank you, Coach Day. Congrats, Kevin. First-time winner of the award for Kevin. On the girls' side, also a first-time winner, but definitely very, very deserving. Our September Female Athlete of the Month is the starting quarterback on our flag football team, Maya Hagee. Here to recognize Maya is head flag football coach, Molly Hennig.
So Maya was an easy selection for Athlete of the Month as well. She started playing flag football last year, and it, due to a number of circumstances, became our quarterback and had to earn that position again this year. And I think that her perseverance and her leadership and her effort really helped her stand apart from our other candidates at quarterback this year. She is always willing to help out. We have a lot of freshmen on our varsity team. Sometimes due to injuries and different things, we'll put someone in at running back that hasn't played there before, and Maya's very quick to be able to help them and guide them on the field to help us score or make sure that they're blocking for her, because due to the new flag football rules, she gets tackled a lot of times, even though she's not supposed to back there. But she's always being positive, and if they miss the girl, whether it be their fault or just miscommunication, she's one of the most positive people on the field for us. I think that what else stood out this season was we were playing Wakanda. And Maya got, again, tackled accidentally back there. And her nose was bleeding very profusely. And we didn't know she'd go back in. And she made sure that she did everything the trainers wanted her to do. They cleared her for the game, and she went out there and we ended up winning 26-0 because she just had this determination about her after getting knocked down and some blood everywhere, that really kind of represented that Round Lake toughness that we wanted to see from her and how she responded to that. Aside from that, currently she is leading the state in passing yards with 4,110 as of today. So she has really embraced the adjustments to the new rules that we have this year. And she's also, you're also leading the state in total yards. So she has 5,164 for that. So she's gotten better at running the ball and also passing the ball. And she's fourth in the nation for total yards according to Max Prep. So those were the stats as of an hour ago at our team dinner. So it goes to speak a lot to the stats she's putting up, but also the character that she brings onto the field. So I'm really proud that we have her in our program, and thankful she's only a junior, so we get another year of her. And hopefully she'll keep setting those records and being a good leader for the program.
All right, next up, we have communications to the board. And first up on that is Ms. Fontana with the driver's education programming presentation.
Good evening. Thank you for having me tonight. I am just going to review based on some questions that have come up over the summer regarding our driver's education programming, and we've had some changes over the last year and a half, so it's a good opportunity for us to give you an update on that. I will go over some of the nuts and bolts of the program structure and where the last 18 months have taken us regarding some of these improvements that we've made, some of these key highlights. So as far as the structure, the high school gets to, each high school has a slightly different structure in how they run their driver's education programming. Here at Round Lake High School, we do run a quarter-long classroom instruction. This entails your permit test, rules of the road, basic instruction for a quarter, and then we also have what I'll call behind the wheel programming, which is where students get their live observation and driving hours throughout. As far as a department, largely our staffing resides within our wellness department, but we do have 13 teachers across the district really that work with our students with driver's education. Last year we had our first full-time FTE driver he spends his entire day within the driver's education programming. Everybody else either comes from a different department or within our wellness department to support students throughout the day. And so that includes 9 different teachers that give up time throughout the day to work with our students. We do meet all of the state requirements as far as teacher certification and driving verifications, all of the portal information with the Secretary of State and so forth. And through our program, we are able to administer all of the DMV exams, such as our vision test, our written permit exam, and our driving test as well. So I'll first go into our classroom instruction and who is eligible and how do they become eligible for that. So for our classroom instruction, students who are sophomores through seniors, ages 15 to 21 are eligible to take that if they meet the state requirements of having 4 credit hours in their high school experience. We must enroll them in the classroom portion within a year of their request, assuming that they meet the eligibility requirements. The classroom portion does require that a student is in the class for 30 hours of instruction, which means they cannot have any more than 3 absences in a quarter time, or they will be dropped from the classroom portion. They will have an opportunity to re-enroll for the next quarter and next opportunity that they have available. And then also, Round Lake does have a requirement that a student must not exceed 30 unexcused absences over the previous 2 semesters. So therefore, because there is such a strict attendance policy through the state, we want to make sure that students are here and are able to stay enrolled within there. They also will take their permit written exam and vision screening through our classroom instruction. There is no cost for the program through Round Lake. However, there is the $20 permit fee, which is the same as if you went to the DMV and had to pay for that $20 fee. We do get a reimbursement from the state for this portion of the program. That amount varies year to year based on the bucket of funds that ISB gives towards the program and the number of students, across the state. So this year we will be receiving just over $26 per student for those that completed the classroom portion last year. So that'll equate to about $12,000 that we'll receive during this fiscal year. That is required to be given right back to the program throughout. When we look at our student impact for the classroom portion, you'll see that we've been pretty stagnant over the years. Last year, we had 454 students that completed the classroom portion and passed. And passed means they met the attendance requirements, they passed their permit exam and their vision screening. The most students that we could kind of provide the instruction to throughout a year is 580 students, because we do teach 5 classes every single quarter at our class max. That equates to 580. We've never had a wait list for our classroom portion, so we were able to enroll any student who is eligible to take this portion. When looking at our enrollment for this year throughout the year, we have 453 scheduled for this year. We have 470 sophomores, and 400 of them are taking it this year, assuming they continue to meet that requirement. So we are able to meet the needs through our classroom portion without any student wait, as long as they meet those requirements throughout. As far as our success rate of students successfully completing the class, when I looked at previous years, we only have about 1% who don't pass through not passing the written exam, not completing classwork throughout. But those that are able to meet the attendance requirements have a high success rate. We do drop students as soon as they exceed the 3 absences and re-enroll them the next opportunity that does come up. Now, looking at our behind the wheel portion of the instruction, this also is sophomores through seniors, but this is based on a wait list because we do have a longer list of students being able to complete the driving portion within this. Seniors are our priority on that wait list, and they are able to enroll as soon as a student successfully completes the classroom portion. They basically fill out a Google form that puts them on the list, and that is our tracking mechanism as far as meeting the requirements there. They do have to obviously pass the classroom portion, and it does involve 6 hours of driving with a student observer present in the car and 6 hours of observation as well. They do have the ability to take the official DMV driving exam if they are eligible. In order for a student to be eligible, they do need to have earned an A or a B in the classroom portion previously, and it's up for the teacher's discretion on administering that. If the driving instructor feels the student needs more practice, they're not going to administer the DMV driving exam for the student and say, you're going to take it with the DMV, get some more practice and so forth throughout there. But they do confidently give the exam for those students who are ready and meet the requirements. They do not need to take that DMV for any successful completion of this portion. Now, the one component that we do get questions on is whether or not this meets all the state requirements. We do not cover the 50 hours of parent practice that a parent or guardian has to sign off on, as well as nighttime hours and so forth. We meet the state requirements of the 6 hours of driving, 6 hours of observation. It is then up for the students and parents and guardians to be able to fulfill the rest of the state's requirements as far as getting additional hours in on their own time through there. We do have a course fee of $250, but this is waivable. Last year, when looking at our enrollment, we had about 360 kids complete this portion. 64 of them paid the course fee. So it's not a source of revenue that we get because it is largely waived at our school. Our state does reimburse us for this portion as well. Last year's rate that we will receive this year is $120.70 per student. So this fiscal year we'll receive just over $43,000 from the state to reinvest back into the program. When looking at the past decade, you could see our enrollment numbers and successful completion of Behind the Wheel. We had a large increase over the past decade with last year with 359 students that successfully completed the driving requirements. This does not mean they passed the driving exam. So these are students who we successfully passed, communicated that information to the Secretary of State. So that student, once they fulfill their rest of their hours and requirements, can go ahead and get their driver's license when ready. As far as the reasoning for that huge increase, that really is the last 18 months that we've really looked at some of the resources and the staffing within that program to account for that. Back in April of 2024, we came to the board with title funds and we were able to purchase 2 new vehicles for our driver's ed program. So now we are operating with 4 cars, which obviously increases the amount of students that we're able to drive and meet those requirements for. We also shifted from leasing our vehicles to owning them. So we have more in-house maintenance and able to kind of control that cycle of when our cars are available. We were also able to successfully purchase a new vision screening machine, which I know our classroom teachers were excited about. As far as staffing, with the purchase of those 2 vehicles, I had also come to the board requesting a full-time driver because we had never had one. At least in the 18 years I'd been here, we hadn't had a full-time driver. So last year we had a full-time teacher who drove 6 periods of the day. So in addition to him driving 6 periods throughout the day, every day, and our other staff members who were able to contribute, students had availability 1st through 9th period. Every period we had drivers throughout there. So that increased, that FTE alone accounted for 35% of our students who received that portion of the course last year with Behind the Wheel. It was just from that one FTE. We also increased the pay rate for our teachers who were driving during their lunch and their prep or before or after school hours to match the internal sub rate because we wanted to incentivize for them to drive instead of subbing and have that be an equal decision there. So we matched the internal sub rate last year, and this year it'll be $55. We also, for any relevant job posting, we have put that preferred certification to ensure that if we are hiring a new wellness teacher, we really need them to be driver's ed certified, so that way we can continue to have support there. And then we started really digging into all of our certifications across the district and really in the high school, but really we tapped into even some middle school teachers that have that certification and got them on board to drive during hours after school and so forth. So right now we have 3 non-PE teachers that are also driving throughout the day. So 2 special education teachers and 1 English teacher helping out there. And then lastly, we had an improvement to our summer programming this past year. So we tapped into after-school funds with that grant, which had not been used previously. So this was a perfect example of eligible funds that were available to us. We used that, and this past summer, we hired a Behind the Wheel monitor. That person single-handedly scheduled all the drivers, arranged the cars, called every student in that wait list, starting with our seniors, went through and really managed that. If a student was absent, they tried to reschedule because we can't have one student in the car, so we didn't want the other student to lose out. So this person was able to kind of manage all of that throughout the summer and keep everybody going. And this summer, we had 80 students complete behind the wheel, which is the largest we had in the summer. And I think that position alone really accounted for that. We also expanded then to all qualified staff, as I mentioned, with that hiring, and we also increased the summer school rate to match what summer school teachers were getting paid as well. So again, to incentivize that, all while utilizing the after-school grant funding. So overall, within the last year and a half, when we look at that, since we purchased the cars, had a new FTE, our wait list was 417 students. At that time, at this exact moment, we're at 210. Now that will go up as soon as Q1 is done and that classroom portion will start. But I am happy to report that between July and December, we will have completed at a minimum 215 students, which is nearing really looking at previous years, what we've completed in an entire year, we're going to be able to do in 6 months. So we believe that we'll be able to have a higher success rate this year than what we had last year, which was much greater. With that, we were able to have better access expanded. So we have drivers during the summer that have worked on weekends. We have a driver that's going early in the morning before school starts, and we have some after school. So we're really trying to be more flexible and get more people on the road at times that works for them as well. And as we know, this has been a cost reduction for our students. If anybody's ever had to go through private driver's education, at a minimum, it's about $500. And so for many of our students, they're paying the $20 permit fee, and that is it, which is amazing that we're able to offer that for our students. And then through our reimbursements, being able to reinvest into the program and continue that support throughout. So although we've had great success in the last year and a half, we're continuing to build upon that, exploring additional funding in our grants and so forth. We really want to look at an opportunity to provide behind the wheel for our students with a bilingual staff member. We do offer the permit test in Spanish so that we're able to achieve, but I believe it was 3 years ago was the last time we had a bilingual staff member that also held the certification. So we're looking at what opportunities we will have to be able to ensure that all of our students have that access within there. Continue to maintain our vehicle maintenance cycle and making sure we prolong and best serve our investment with those vehicles, monitor that wait list and staffing needs. And then this year, although it might just seem like a handbook, but this program really involves the business office, operations, maintenance, the high school, teaching and learning. There's so many different departments that are involved in this, and all of the information is living in all of those places. So we really want to streamline that process and build a handbook where everything is there, so that way we could be efficient and safe and improve upon our process and procedures to continue to expand the program with the resources that we do have. Are there any questions regarding the program?
I do have a question. Can I just clarify on your next steps? Develop driver's education handbook to provide clarity and efficiency with improved processes and procedures. Is that more internal or for the parent and student?
Great question. Right now it's going to be internal for there. Now we do as far as our communication out. So for classroom, and I apologize I didn't mention this, for our classroom registration that happens through the counseling department. That's why pretty much all of our students are able to get right through there for that. Once we get down our wait list, if we continue to bring that wait list down, I think we'll be able to expand as far as opening up the opportunity beyond who's next on the list for our families during the summer months and beyond that.
Okay, so that really is more internal procedures and processes. But do we have something for our students and families so that they know like that 50 hours they have to do with their student on their own?
So they do through the classroom portion. That is part of the materials that they hand out directly through the student with the rules of the road book, all of the requirements. So students actually get their permit within usually the first month of the classroom section, and then the remaining month or so of the classroom portion is spent going over those requirements with the students, all of the state materials and so forth.
Do we have something that we can confirm that the students and family are aware of, like the 50 hours and so on and so forth, that we get back, so that we know that the families are understanding the process of behind the wheel, I mean, the classroom and then behind the wheel?
We could definitely implement something. Yeah, we currently don't have anything in place as far as an exchange of information or confirmation of knowledge, but we could definitely build
Kind
that
of like we
into
have our
the classroom.
student handbook. I mean, like, my student had to do, we did private behind the wheel, so I know there's a little bit of confusion what parents are understanding their responsibility and ours. So I think if we had more of a handbook for the families and the students, I think that would help.
Absolutely.
I know that my son just took it here this summer. It was one of 3 of my children that only one was able to get in, so I was appreciative of that. But we did get something home during the behind the wheel portion too that explained what our responsibility was, and the 50 hours of driving an actual log that we had to fill out, and we did get it with the classroom too. But there wasn't anything necessarily to sign that said that we acknowledged.
Yeah, like a confirmation from the district that the parents understood their role in this process.
Yeah, I will confirm that too, having had, of my 3, 1 had no desire at all to deal with the school part, so that was completely private lessons. The second one did the classroom part, but didn't have the ability to do the in-car because they graduated in class of 21, so there you go. And then the current one, who's a senior this year, was able to get into the in-car and did that during the summer, which leads me to my question. Are we seeing the ability to expand our summer? And you seem to touch on it, that the summer numbers are really picking up. Are we seeing more interest in that, in being able to fit people's schedules by doing it during the summer, and then also being able to use the extra staff who may not be necessarily tied to regular classroom duties during that time to be able to continue to expand there?
Yes, and we also do have the option, and something that we're going to explore for this summer is we do have the ability to post this externally, to bring in external people as far as teachers that have the certification. That's what a lot of school districts do. So when they post for summer school positions, driver's education is one, if we don't have enough internal people as well. So that is something that we're going to be exploring, whether or not we're ready to make that move at that time based on what our numbers are. But that is another way for us to expand within there.
And ultimately, we'd be limited by the number of vehicles we have. So number of vehicles times number of slots. So backwards, probably the staffing is one of our lesser components of that. We've got the need for them, but the number of cars is what controls that, correct?
Correct. And within the pairing of the students, they don't go more than like 2 days a week with that, because there is a limit of how many hours that you could have in a setting. We can't drive for 2 hours at a time, so we keep it at 2. So in order to maximize the use of our cars, we built blocks, like a Monday, Wednesday, you're a Tuesday, Thursday, you're a, Thursday, Saturday, et cetera. So throughout those time blocks, we do have room to expand though in terms of the vehicles. It's more the personnel at this rate during the summer months.
Thank you. Any additional questions? Yes.
I was going to follow up on the summer question, because I think, was it true that you said that there's almost like a competition during the school year between the in-school sub and the driver's ed, correct?
Now that it's the same rate, we did, once that internal rate increased, that people would rather internally sub from the pay rate that was higher, but now that it's the same, we have not had an issue, all the people that are available. What we do see though is a direct conflict with a lot of our department are also coaches. And so depending on when their season is. So there are, for instance, people that are big driving right now, they're entering in their winter sports season, so they're not going to be able to pick up as much, time either before, or after school, or even giving up their lunch in their planned period because they take on other responsibilities. So it's kind of an ebb and flow as far as our staffing that is available based on their other responsibilities that they carry throughout.
Any additional questions?
I just want to thank you for I haven't seen a presentation on driver's ed in 13 years. And it's very clear, like you do with everything you work on, your attention to detail, your ability to collaborate and put things together and improve. I mean, it's very clear we're way better now than we were in recent time, the best we've been in a long time. So I just want to thank you in the teaching and learning department.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next up, we'll move to strategic plan monthly update.
Yeah, so for your convenience and for your review, we have our first strategic plan monitoring update. There are no verbal call outs. The first one will be in October. When we bring this back to you, we will have each department head highlight one or two areas because we'll have more content in there, but we have it in there. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions from the board? Hearing none, next we will transition right over to Public Act 970256 and 0609. Dr. Stute.
Good evening. As part of our annual requirements, we bring forward Public Act 970256 as well as Public Act 970609 as required by law to post on our district website the salaries and benefits of administrators and teachers within the district as prescribed by the particular requirements of that law.
Any questions from the board? Hearing none. Thank you very much. All right, next up is the standardized disposal list. And Dr. King, any questions from the board in regards to those? All right, hearing none there, we'll then transition to the FOIA report. And I will again ask if the board has any questions in regards to the FOIA report as posted. Hearing none there, we'll next transition to reviewing contracts less than 1,000. Looks like we had one per village as posted in the agenda. Any questions from the board? All right, hearing none there, we'll now transition to, again, opportunity for public comment. As always, members of the public will participate in public comment during regular board meetings, either electronically or in person, and at all times. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes. Electronic public comments are accepted up until noon on the day of the regularly scheduled meeting. We did not have any electronic public comment. Do we have any local public comment for this round? Please step up and again, turn in any, well, you've already probably turned in a slip, but to Ms. Bennett. And again, just as a reminder, thank you. That was a great question earlier. Again, it's going to be a one-way conversation. The administration will follow up.
Just to be clear, can I please receive the answers via email? That's the preferred method.
100%. Just if you would, it would help if you would, because I think I know what the question was, but if you could email it, then we could document it both ways. That would be helpful.
So the question was actually, Mr. Schuth kind of brought it up, was the teacher salaries and things that was presented for this year or this upcoming school year. I was just a bit confused because there was a lot of inconsistencies in that one. So first, I know Chief Financial Officer, you were hired in December of 2024 at 190,000. However, in the teacher TRS comprehensive report that was presented, it's now at 99,000. That's a big decrease, so if you can please explain where that was coming from. Then there's also, it's a bit confusing because I believe Cacciatore is no longer here and neither is Christy Michael. However, they're still in the comprehensive report for the finances.
I know what your question is, and I have a clear answer, but we'll do it. I'll be respectful to you and send it to you the way you want. I'll actually have Dr. Shu send it to you.
Awesome, thank you. But yes, I think I just want some understanding, and if it's this school year, if it's the previous school year, why the inconsistencies kind of exist. But I also actually wanted to talk about special education. I know during the community town hall, you had stated that it is legally required for students to receive their minutes based off their IEP, which I am completely aware. And I wanted to go through and address something that you had stated, that there is caseload caps for our related services. You stated that during the community town hall meeting. I just wanted to be clear. There is caseload caps for SLPs. However, there's no caseload caps for any other related service. However, I did just go through the minutes. I'm not sure how familiar you are with an IEP, Dr. Don Mendoza, but the minutes can kind of range. One of the lowest is about 120 for speech services. And I just wanted to address that SLPs have a caseload of 60, which means so it's 60 students per school year. However, if each student has the lowest number of 120 minutes per minute, that's 30, which equates up to 1,800 a week, right, that they have to meet minutes. But if you take into account their paperwork day that they're addressed, or that they're given as part of their contract, as well as their lunch and their prep time, that actually only equals up to 1,450 minutes that they work during the school time. That doesn't take into account any of the annual review meetings that they have to do, which is about an hour for every single student that they work with, which is about 60 minutes a school year that they're already missing. So just based on the calculations, it seems like it's about 150 to 250 minutes that are being missed about a month if it's only one school psych working. However, that's also if that school psych only has 60, but I assume there's way more students, especially at the elementary level. And again, that's only if those students, those 60 students, are receiving the lowest number of SPED minutes, which I assume is also not the case. So I just want to ask how you're ensuring or will ensure that those minutes are met, and also how you'll be making up for the minutes that have been missed so far.
So you're assuming minutes are being missed. I don't necessarily agree with that. We will have Miss Sharon Jacobellis, our Director of Special Ed, contact you directly. You're very welcome.
Thank you very much. Any additional local public comment? Hearing none, we will now transition to the superintendent's report and our comments from Dr. Mendoza.
Thank you, Board President Francisco and Board. Round Lake High School Fine Arts students, in collaboration with the Career and Technical Education Department, engaged in an exciting partnership with the Chicago Bears. Creative Department and professional graphics designers. Together, they reimagined the Bears' annual Loteria cards, which highlight meaningful places and cultural icons of Chicago. Through this collaboration, our students received mentorship from industry professionals, gaining insight into the creative process while contributing their own artistic perspectives. This authentic project-based learning experience not only celebrates our students' unique artistic voices, but also strengthens career-connected learning opportunities in the arts and communications industries. The final redesigned cards will be showcased as part of a community building marketing initiative by the Chicago Bears. We are proud of our students' talent and professionalism and grateful for the Bears' continued partnership in helping us connect classroom learning experiences to industry professionals thriving in high-skill, high-wage careers. Congratulations to the Round Lake High School varsity football coach, Randy Day, who we met this evening, for being named Coach of the Week by the Chicago Bears during Week 2 of the NFL season. As noted in the Chicago Bears press release, Coach Day, a 2000 Round Lake graduate and U.S. Army veteran, returned to his alma mater this spring. Known for emphasizing resilience, accountability, and steady improvement, he has worked to shift a culture of the program. His leadership and focus have already sparked renewed confidence among players and the community. Congratulations to Coach Day, Principal Peterson, the entire Round Lake staff. I'd like to thank the Illinois State Board of Education State Superintendent Dr. Tony Sanders, Illinois Representative Laura Favor-Diaz, and Illinois Senator Mary Edley Allen and their teams for visiting our school district on Friday, September 12th. The district tour included visits to the Early Education Center and Birth to Five program in Round Lake High School. There were a lot of people that contributed to making that event run so smoothly, and it was a very, very positive visit. Included in the superintendent's update is a list of recent donations. Per board policy, all donations are communicated to the Board of Education. A thank you letter will be sent to each donor. The following is a list of donations: school supplies and a $2,000 donation from Enchanted Backpack from the Levin Family Foundation to Beach. Swing stick and 9-hole pitching target from our former board member Kevin Daniels for the Round Lake High School baseball team. $2,300 from Glenn and Judy Mostalski for the Round Lake High School baseball program. $150 each to the soccer program from Barbara Galvin, Carrie Cordova Telez, Cavazzo Seal Coating, Angelica Telez, Josue Jimenez, and San Judas Supermercado to the Round Lake Boys Soccer program. Also want to thank Don Luis Catering for another $150 to the boys soccer program and $195 from Sierra Striping Services. That concludes the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Dr. Mendoza. Any questions from the board? Hearing none, we will now transition to committee reports and this evening's Finance Committee update.
Thank you and bless you. We had a shorter agenda for finance as we worked, as you heard earlier, the budget for adoption. That'll be on the agenda later for the board's consideration. The other two items we had, which I'll go into greater detail in the regular agenda item, is the 2025-2026 BPAC presenter agreements, and then independent contractor agreement for the Hispanic celebration in 2 weeks, week and a half-ish. And that was it on the finance tonight.
Any questions for Finance Committee update? Thank you. That'll take us to approval of open meeting minutes.
I need a motion to approve the September 3rd, 2025 special meeting, Community Town Hall budget.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Jewett, seconded by Ms. Lee. Hearing no additional conversation, roll call please.
Mrs. Negretti McGinley,
Yes.
Mr. Jewett,
Yes.
Ms. Lee,
Yes.
Mr. Francisco,
Yes.
Mr. De Vera,
Yes.
Motion carries.
Need a motion to approve the September 4th, 2025 special meeting expulsion hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. De Vera, seconded by Ms. Lee. Hearing no additional conversation, roll call please.
Mr. Jewett,
Abstain.
Mr. De Vera,
Yes.
Mrs. Negretti McGinley,
Yes.
Ms. Lee,
Yes.
Mr. Francisco,
Yes. And a motion carries.
Need a motion to approve the September 8th, 2025 regular meeting minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. De Vera, seconded by Mr. Jewett. Roll call please.
Ms. Lee,
Yes.
Mr. Francisco,
Yes.
Mr. Jewett,
Yes.
Mrs. Negretti McGinley,
Yes.
Mr. De Vera,
Yes.
Motion carries.
Need a motion to approve the September 11th, 2025 special board meeting, board governance self-evaluation.
So.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Tavera, seconded by Mr. Jewett. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Negretti McGinley,
Yes.
Mr. Francisco,
Yes.
Mr. Tavera,
Yes.
Miss Lee,
Yes.
Mr. Jewett,
Yes.
Motion carries. And that'll take us to consent agenda.
I need a motion to approve the consent agenda for the following items. The accounts payable report for $2,956,170.99. The previous motions report for $2,156,840.64. The July 2025 Treasurers Report, the August 2025 P-Card Report, the September 29th, 2025 Employment Report.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Tavera, seconded by Mr. Jewett. Roll call, please.
Miss Lee,
Yes.
Mr. Francisco,
Yes.
Mr. Jewett,
Yes.
Mrs. Negretti McGinley,
Yes.
Mr. Tavera,
Yes.
Motion carries. And that will take us to old business. And first up on that is Mr. Peterson. It looks like we got 3 in a row for Mr. Peterson. So take it away.
All right, good evening. I have 2 contracts that I want to bring for approval from the board. We have the 2 contracts. The first contract would be with Conscious Campus and is with Ken Nwarike from the Free Hugs Project. We have done this for my tenure at Round Lake High School, and that tradition had started prior to my arrival. What this project does is an opportunity for our students to get in front of Ken, and he shares some of his experiences on just changing behavior, culture, and beliefs. With this, they'll have some large group presentations and also individual sessions with smaller groups of students, and our teachers have an opportunity to interact with him as well. This has been truly a positive experience to bring in a national speaker and come in front of our students to continue our success at Round Lake High School. If there's any questions from the board, I'll take those.
This was reviewed at Finance. I did want to confirm that this is actually paid for through a donation from the Goiter Family Foundation, and that all background checks and insurances were checked as well.
Correct.
Hearing no additional conversation.
Need a motion to approve Conscious Campus contract in the amount of $8,500 funded by the Goiter Family Foundation donation.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Jewett, seconded by Ms. Lee. Roll call, please.
Mr. Tavera,
Yes.
Mrs. Negretti McGinley,
Yes.
Mr. Francisco,
Yes.
Miss Lee,
Yes.
Mr. Jewett,
Yeah.
Motion carries.
The next item on the agenda is with Action Territory. That is not for approval as a contract. That is just an informational item. We want to bring that before the board tonight. Typically, when we have prom at the Grand Geneva, we do visit the water park at Grand Geneva at the same time. Unfortunately, that was not an opportunity this year, so what we looked at was Action Territory, located about 10 minutes down the Highway 50. And for this, our students will get access to food, go-karts, mini golf, laser tag, those types of experience. Similar opportunities that we'd have at main event. For this event, we will be the only group in attendance on that evening. We have obtained a copy of insurance from, or certificate of insurance, not a copy, certificate of insurance from that group, and are excited for this opportunity. If there's any questions, I'll take those.
This is actually up for action.
I was going to ask that same question. It looks like this is a recommendation was administration respectfully recommends approving.
So it's not a formal contract. I think in the August meeting, it did reference an approval, so we did bring it back for formal action tonight. Sorry, Mr. Peterson, for the confusion.
Thank you.
Yeah, as I say, this is also reviewed at Finance last month as well. Again, we just, and this is also funded through the Student Council Activity Account. But the question is obviously making sure this is obviously a public facility, that it's only, or it's open only to our students, no other public is invited or allowed in during that time.
And that was, I confirmed that with the management.
Yeah, so again, we just did the normal checks with using public venue for our students. And as you heard Mr. Peterson said, they usually do the water park. It's just not an option this year. So, and this is also the same place that our eighth graders use for their eighth grade promotion adventure.
Correct.
Hearing no additional questions, we'll go to the action.
Need a motion to approve the American Action Territory for the 2026 post-prom event in the amount of $6,000.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Lee, seconded by Mr. Jewett. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Negretti McGinley,
Yes.
Mr. Francisco,
Yes.
Ms. Lee,
Yes.
Mr. Jewett,
Yes.
Mr. De Vera,
Yes.
And motion carries.
Okay, our final contract that I'm bringing for approval from the board tonight is with our homecoming DJ. We are entering homecoming week and excited for what this week brings for our students, staff, and community. What the ask is for the homecoming DJ with sound and lighting. The cost is $2,500. We have obtained the certificate of insurance for this vendor and have done background checks with this vendor. So administration is seeking your approval for this contract.
So again, that was at last month's finance. Again, this is funded out of the student council activity account. Obviously, you heard Mr. Peterson talk about the checks and then also just making sure the gym floor's protected.
Absolutely.
Hearing no additional questions,
I need a motion to approve the contract with Monster Entertainment for homecoming DJ services at the 2025 RLHS Homecoming Dance on October 4th, 2025, in the amount of $2,500.
So moved.
Second.
motion by Mr. De Vera, seconded by Mr. Jewett. Roll call, please.
Ms. Lee,
Yes.
Mr. Francisco,
Yes.
Mr. Jewett,
Yeah.
Mrs. Negretti McGinley,
Yes.
Mr. De Vera,
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. And that'll take us to our FY26 budget for adoption. Ms. Amsel?
Thank you. Having prepared the FY26 budget, having posted that budget and made it available on the district's website as well as in the finance department at Old National Bank, and having published and hold the public hearing, which was recently completed to date, administration is asking that the Board of Education adopt the FY26 budget as presented and authorize administration to execute all documents required for its filing.
I mean, you saw the finance, you heard the public hearing just, maybe an hour or so ago, so I think we're good.
Yeah, sorry, it's just kind of a natural point. I'll go right over there, my apologies. Any additional questions from the board, any conversation? Hearing none?
I need a motion to adopt the fiscal year 2026 budget as presented in accordance with Illinois School Code and authorize administration to execute all necessary documentation.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. De Vera, seconded by Mr. Jewett. Hearing no additional conversation, roll call, please.
Mrs. Negretti McGinley,
Yes.
Mr. Francisco,
Yes.
Mr. Jewett,
Yeah.
Mr. De Vera,
Yes.
Ms. Lee,
Yes.
Motion carries. And that will bring us to new business and Mr. Peterson again with now the music program trip.
Hello again. Before I begin, I just want to say how exciting it was tonight to hear all the successes that have been going on at the high school, and I just want to thank you for your partnership in making those a reality for our kids. As we are looking to build success within our programs, we heard about a nationally recognized student with the yardage that they've received in girls flag football. The purpose of this is to continue to work towards that for our music program as well. So tonight, what I am looking to do is request approval for a trip to New York City for the spring of 2027 for our music program. As many of you on the board have had students in our music program, you know that this is quite an exciting adventure for our students. It occurs every 2 years, and it's an opportunity for us to not just grow our program, but keep our students there so they get that opportunity to participate in this. We can look at this as just another trip, but the experience that those kids get on this are far from just music. They get exposure to college. They get exposure to opportunities that can exist for them outside of just performance and music, but the industry as a whole. While they're on this trip, they get an opportunity to participate in parades, workshops, and just other music center activities, and get a chance to visit very musically significant locations within the area that they travel to. Our previous trips, we can outline if we've been to Nashville, Disney World, New Orleans, and New York City. On the proposal that I did share with the board, we want to keep a ratio of 10-to-1 for supervision for this trip, and our timeline exists here. Now we are a little bit behind on that timeline, and that's due to some turnover within the leadership with our activities and fine arts department. Highlighted or outlined in here is the cost per student, $1,400 to $1,600. There are some variances in some of those fees as we get more information, but the positive part about this, a major portion of this, and sometimes entirely in full, the cost for students is picked up through fundraising. Our students do a great job with you guys see the chocolate bars everywhere, and they do a great job with selling those. We're also looking at exploring some opportunities as well within that. We have some popcorn sales we can do, and we're looking for some direct to consumer options as well to support that trip. There's a lot of detail in the proposal that was here, and if I would having on the board members who have had students and the children on their own and participate in this program, I think this is a great opportunity for us to continue our progress towards becoming a nationally recognized program. So at this time, I'll take any questions that may exist.
Let me jump in first on that one. I do, inside of the abstract, it did state that we were looking to basically lock it down to where Disney is every 4 years. So basically every high school kid would have the ability in their 4-year career to go to Disney once, but then locking the second trip into a rotation between New York and New Orleans, according to the abstract. I know at earlier conversations with the board, we had asked that to try and expand that so that our students can actually get a wider variety. And this feels like we're going the opposite way of a wider variety into just locking into New Orleans and New York. And while those two locations are amazing, don't get me wrong on that, there's still a lot of musically, culturally relevant other locations that you can throw out there. San Antonio, San Diego, Memphis, St. Louis, Nashville, to say a few. So my concern there is that I do understand the Disney part, so I'm not even getting into the mousecapades with that. But locking into just having those two cities on a rotating basis, as someone whose family, actually we got to send, our oldest went to New Orleans and the youngest actually got to go to New York. My preference would be seeing our community be able to get more experience with different cities. And definitely want to open up that conversation, but that's just my two cents on that.
I appreciate that, and I will bring that back to the team who works on planning the trips, and I can bring more information at the next meeting.
Okay, so I've had 3 students go through the music program, and they were lucky enough to go on these trips. I was lucky enough to chaperone the New York trip, and my group, nobody had really traveled, had been on a plane, had been anywhere really out of Illinois, some not out of Round Lake. It was such an amazing experience for these students to explore all the arts, all the architecture, the history, the music, the food. We had to try new food, no Panera. But I just want to make sure that every student that wants to go has the opportunity to experience this through fundraising. And I know that with the last Disney trip, I was assured that there would be adequate fundraising, and a lot of fundraising fell through for the Disney trip. I don't think we did popcorn sales, but just so that there is enough for every student who wants to go to be able to afford this trip through fundraising.
I totally agree with you. What you're saying is, somebody who also grew up here, I had never been on a plane in high school either, and I know my parents wouldn't be able to afford those types of trips. And I will talk with the team on this one to see what we need to do to help to continue to support students of being a part of this type of exposure.
So mine's kind of just a reiteration of, as you heard Mr. Francisco say, is, and I don't know if we're limited on the opportunities for trip is because it's entourage by the company itself. Is that possibly why?
It could be. I don't have that information for you, but I know Matt Weber works very closely with them and would have those details, and I can find that out and bring that back the next time we talk about it.
Because I'm just wondering if it is a limitation due to the company that we use, maybe we need to expand our search in the company that we use. As I do know that a lot of these companies that we use for the travel, they have contracts themselves with these cities and these destinations, so sometimes that could limit the variety that we're seeing. And again, nothing, if there's anything wrong with any of these cities, but again, we want to make sure we can expand the horizons for our students. Again, I too have a son who is benefited from this, but again, we want to make sure our students have that, more variety. And then kind of just piggybacking off of what Ms. Lee said, because you mentioned there may be new opportunities for fundraising. Would that possibly be done soon enough that it leaves other options for fundraising for the families for this trip for New York?
I didn't hear the one part of that.
No, that's okay. So you said more fundraising opportunities. Are we going to have those together for the fundraising for this trip to New York?
Yeah, Matt Weber's working on some opportunities and finalizing details on those, and I didn't want to share specifics if we didn't have any type of a commitment on what that could look like. I knew you would come with very detailed questions, and I didn't want to overpromise and underdeliver tonight. So that's totally something that I can gather and bring that information to you.
Okay, because, again, as Ms. Lee said, we want to make sure our families and our students have every opportunity to attend these. I mean, even if you go back to, when our kids are in 8th grade and they have the Washington DC trip, fundraising is their option to attend these. So we need to give them as many opportunities and as much time to raise these funds. I mean, we're talking about is it 1,500 or just took off my glasses, so.
14 to 1,600 per
Yeah,
student.
14 to 1,600. That's a lot of money that we ask our families to pay. There's not a parent in this community who doesn't want to send their kid on this trip, but the financial responsibility that comes with it could be the hindrance for them.
I couldn't agree more, and I'm very sensitive to that and want to do everything that we can to support these opportunities for our kids, because that exposure is so valuable for them, and seeing what opportunities are really out there for them. I will find out the specifics of what those additional opportunities are to fundraise, and how that those funds can offset if most of that, if not all of that cost.
Okay, I'd hate the cost to be the deterrent for these kids to go, because as Ms. Lee said, I've chaperoned these trips as well, and it's so awesome to see these kids' face when they get on a plane and they see a new city and they see what is out there. It's very rewarding to see the kids just be so excited.
I couldn't agree more.
And then I do have one more follow-up. Based on the abstract as well, so this New York trip would be going back to motor coaching to New York for the 14 to 1,600 and not flying?
That's correct.
And ballpark me, what was the price with the flight? I'm just curious, because I kind of remember it being in that same 16 to 18-ish.
I feel like it was similar. but we were there shorter, I mean, it was,
Right, it's shorter
Shorter
because
trip.
you had, it was a tighter yeah. Because, yeah, 6 days, 5 nights, but if you're driving a whole day there and a whole day back, now you're down to 4 days and 5 nights.
But with the flight, they were a day shorter in that,
New York, right.
that city.
Yeah.
So the bus is definitely longer commute. I mean, nobody wants to be on a bus that long, especially with, high school kids and parents. Nobody wants to be on a bus that long. But it gave them more time at the venues, where the airplane, yeah, you're on the flight for a couple hours, but it shortened their length in the cities.
Exactly.
It's a trade-off, unfortunately.
we did not, it was nonstop go. There was no rest. It was, we got off the plane and we were running the entire time we were there. So there was no downtime. It was a good use of the short time that was had.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever been on one there is no downtime, other than when we got snowed into DC on the 8th grade trip the one year. That's the only time.
Any additional questions, please?
Yeah, so you know when you're stepping up, you were gonna get the fundraising question and you were gonna get the variety question, right? You knew that, that's every time. And
So now here comes the fun one.
no, but but I'm sitting here thinking, there's an assumption that's being made that the students want to go someplace else. That's our assumption because we're the ones that hear it every year about wanting to go someplace else. But if I had to choose as a high schooler between going to St. Louis and going to New York, I'm going to New York. Or if I heard that my older brother or my older sister went to New York and I had to go to Ohio, I would have been upset. Right? No, I'm just, I'm just teasing. But I don't know what the vehicle is or what the way to gather the input from the students on where they want to go. And that's really where I think, because they may not know, right? They may not, but I think that would be a really worthwhile way to really shut us all down, quite frankly, or to get input in terms of, the goal is really, we just want to make sure, obviously, it's all good intent to get the biggest exposure that we can, but where do they want to go? What do they want to see?
I appreciate your student-centered focus on that, and I have some ideas on how we can collect that information and get the kids what they want. But also, I'm going to counter back to that, though. If the kids don't know of these other locations, what's available, their viewpoint may be this small. So you can see both sides of it here, but I think there is value in at least gauging that, the student voice in that, and I think I have some ideas on how we can collect that.
And then again, I may come back to that company and what they can offer. So, yeah.
Lots to determine to make an educated decision here.
Yep. Any additional conversation? Hearing none, thank you very much. All right, next up, we will transition to Ms. Bennett and the BPAC PAC presenter agreements.
So we have two agreements that we're asking for formal approval this evening for our BPAC, which is the Bilingual Parent Advisory Committee and Parent Advisory Committee. We have two presenters for this year. Dr. Fernay Ramirez will be presenting the Spanish sessions. The dates are noted in the memo here. And Dr. Rodrigo Lopez will be presenting the English sessions. The presentation themes are the same for both sessions. They run from November 7th through April 17th. Costs are $3,000 per presenter. And Dr. Fernay Ramirez would be funded through Title III. And Dr. Lopez would be funded through district funds. And the appropriate background checks and insurance have been confirmed for both presenters.
So as you heard Ms. Bennett say, this was at finance, and as she mentioned, those checks were completed and the contract reviewed.
Any additional questions? I do like the PPE requirements on the contract there.
We still require them, you never know.
And hand sanitizer, and hand sanitizer.
We're going into cold and flu season.
Hearing no additional conversation?
I need a motion to approve the 2025-2026 BPAC PAC parent presenter agreements for Dr. Fernie Ramirez and Dr. Rodrigo Lopez in the amount of $6,000, funded out of $3,000 for Title III and $3,000 out of district funds.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Jewett, seconded by Ms. Lee. Roll call, please.
Mr. Tavera?
Yes.
Mrs. Negretti McGinley?
Yes.
Mr. Jewett?
Yeah.
Mr. Francisco?
Yes.
Ms. Lee?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Next up is another independent contractor agreement with Latino Expressions. This is for their services at the 2025 Hispanic Heritage Celebration scheduled for next Thursday, October 9th. And they will have a performance that evening and serve as MC. The cost of the agreement is $950, funded through Title III.
And this was at finance as well, the contract reviewed, and as mentioned, background checks and certificate of insurance checked.
Hearing no additional conversation?
I need a motion to approve the independent contractor agreement with Latino Expressions in the amount of $950, funded out of Title III.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Jewett, seconded by Ms. Lee. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Negretti McGinley?
Yes.
Mr. Francisco?
Yes.
Ms. Lee?
Yes.
Mr. Tavera?
Yes.
Mr. Jewett?
Yeah.
Motion carries. And that will bring us to positive occurrences. I'll start real fast. The biggest one was our visit with Dr. Sanders and company. Senator Edley Allen, Representative Barbara Diaz came in, and it was just a great tour all around. Thank you. Ms. Negretti McGinley was able to attend as well. Thank you to all the staff, administration, the students. We put on the show as we always do, and it's just an amazing job. And just the work that's being done behind the scenes, in front of the scenes, all the scenes, it's tremendous. So thank you to everyone involved.
Yeah, I would just echo that, the visit again from Dr. Tony Sanders. It's always a pleasure to show off our district and have them come in. Also, we had the homecoming parade this past weekend, great show up by the community. Again, just having the students and the fans back with the Friday night football games. I know the homecoming game is this weekend. So I know with homecoming week, it's off and running.
All right, hearing no additional positive occurrences, we'll transition to future agenda items. Anyone got anything to add to the future agenda items? Hearing nothing there, we will now move to approval of closed session minutes.
I need a motion to approve the closed session meeting minutes of August 19th, 2025, special board meeting expulsion hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Tavera, second by Ms. Lee. Roll call, please.
Mr. Jewett?
Abstain.
Ms. Lee?
Yes.
Mr. Tavera?
Yes.
Mr. Francisco?
Yes.
Mrs. Negretti McGinley?
Yes.
Motion carries.
I need a motion to approve the closed session meeting minutes of August 25th, 2025, regular meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Tavera, seconded by Ms. Lee. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Negretti McGinley?
Yes.
Ms. Lee?
Yes.
Mr. Francisco?
Yes.
Mr. Jewett?
Yes.
Mr. Tavera?
Yes.
Motion carries. And that will take us to the need for a motion to convene in closed session as permitted by statute 5 ILCS 120/2 for the purpose of the following: employment matters, 5 ILCS 120/2C1, closed meeting minutes, 5 ILCS 120/2C21, student matters, 5 ILCS 120/2C9, and litigation, 5 ILCS 120/2C11.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Tavera, seconded by Ms. Lee. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Negretti McGinley,
Yes.
Mr. Jewett,
Yes.
Ms. Lee,
Yes.
Mr. Francisco,
Yes.
Mr. Tavera.
Yes.
Motion carries. That will take us to closed session. We will have action after closed session. So for everyone online, we will be coming back in order to match that action. For everyone here, thank you for your attendance, and we will be back soon online. All right, thank you for the pause there. We are now back in open session as of 9:27 PM, again on September 29th. And we will now move to action resulting from closed session.
I need a motion for the approval for the resolution dismissal of educational support personnel employee as listed in the memo.
So
Second.
Motion by Mr. Jewett, seconded by Ms. Lee. Hearing no additional conversation, roll call, please.
Mr. De Vera?
yes.
Ms. Lee?
Yes.
Mr. Jewett?
Yeah.
Mr. Francisco?
Yes,
Mrs. Negretti McGinley?
Yes.
motion carries. And approval, approval of the closed session minutes. That's on me.
I need a motion to approve the closed session meeting minutes of September 4th, 2025, special board meeting expulsion.
So moved.
Second. Motion by Ms. Lee, seconded by Mr. Francisco. Roll call, please.
Mr. Jewett?
Abstain?
Ms. Lee?
Yes.
Mr. De Vera?
Yes.
Mr. Francisco?
Yes,
Mrs. Negretti McGinley?
Yes.
motion carries.
Need a motion to approve the closed session meeting minutes of September 8th, 2025, regular board meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Jewett, seconded by Ms. Lee. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Negretti McGinley?
Yes.
Mr. Francisco?
Yes,
Ms. Lee?
Yes.
Mr. Jewett?
Yes.
Mr. De Vera?
Yes.
motion carries.
Need a motion to approve the closed session minutes of September 11th, 2025, special board meeting, board governance self-evaluation.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Jewett, seconded by Ms. Lee. Roll call, please.
Mr. De Vera?
Yes.
Ms. Lee?
Yes.
Mrs. Negretti McGinley?
Yes.
Mr. Jewett?
Yes.
Mr. Francisco?
Yes. And the motion carries. And that will bring us to adjournment. We are adjourned at 9:29 PM. Thank you all and everyone online. We will be here for our next meeting a week from today. We will see you then.